or if I can search up my company or me, okay, there we go. Jesse San Miguel. You'll see my channel. You can get access to my website too. Like I have some videos on my website. And I'm all about educating people because this has such a negative connotation.
No, of course.
That I've been putting like just uncut training sessions because I know a lot of stuff that, I understand it, from like a trainer's perspective, is they cut out a lot of stuff and then the owners are like, how do they get from that to that?
Yeah.
Right, so I like to be as transparent as possible.
Right.
So that someone can watch it and go like, oh, this is how it works. And it's like, it's not that bad as opposed to being like this mysterious thing. Okay,
Right.
So here we have the dog trail with a 2300.
2300.
Yep, excellent, very good.
And a little note, I thought would be a perfect fit for him.
Sure.
Obviously.
And then, yeah, I'll fit it to him today. If it happens to be a different marking, you can always move this. And if it doesn't have nail polish, what I suggest is you just leave it on. And once you get home, you just put a strip of nail polish. This way you don't have to worry about like this thing coming off and all that stuff.
And does it matter if we cut it just because there's so much?
I recommend waiting 2 weeks. Okay, just in case if you have to return it for any reason, it makes life easier. Okay, and if there's nail polish, obviously nail polish remover, you take that off and you're perfectly good. After the 2 week mark, you absolutely can. And what I usually recommend is if this is his mark here, then you'd want to leave a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because I had someone clip it like right next to it, and it's like super hard to put it on. The other thing I also suggest is when you cut it to round it, because if you cut it flat, the edges are pretty sharp and you'll poke yourself.
Of course.
Okay. Other questions?
No.
Alrighty, so do we have, let me see your remote here. Did you guys happen to go over this and read over your book and all that? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go over a couple of things with you that the book doesn't tell you. So here, the 2 red dots, I'm sure you guys are aware of.
Yep.
We touch those together, that gives us a green light for go. We have a blue button, we're gonna press and hold that turns your system on. I like to always hit pager when I turn the system on. This is the test.
And I was going to ask you, do you use the pager as the correction at all, or just
so the pager I look at as a means of testing if it's on, right? So like, let's say you're working Bailey, right?
Bailey.
Yeah. The client just came from their daughter's dog's name is Bailey. I trained their daughter's dog, and then I'm training the mom's dog right now.
That's fine.
So that's why I came up with like, I'm pretty sure it's Bailey. So with the vibrate function, it's a neutral, right? So some dogs weigh 1 actually spaz out over the vibrate more than they would over the nick.
Right.
Because it's a flat sensation. Okay, whereas the nick, we gradually can escalate it, so it's more subtle. Other dogs, they just don't care for it. They're just like, zzz, they're not unfazed. Others, you might see it gets their attention, and some dog owners do this. We're like, oh, Jesse, like, the dog's doing great on vibrate. I'm like, if you keep doing vibrate, give it a couple of weeks, eventually your dog's gonna just ignore it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not a negative.
Yeah.
So the aversive is meant to
surprise.
reinforce, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, I really don't want that to happen again, right? So like, let's say I run a stop sign, and I keep running a stop sign, right? And I just keep getting stopped, and the cop goes like, all right, I'm gonna give you a chance, don't run another stop sign. Just a warning, right? Until I get a $150 ticket. And I go, you know what? I may wanna double think twice about running that stop sign again, right? Because it's an aversive I don't wanna see again. Same thing as this. The more you use this in the sense of the nick function, the less you use it over the course of time is what I typically tell people. We tend to wanna stay away from it and use it as a last resort. Okay.
Got it.
If you use it as a last resort, you're forever having to use it. Okay. The way I employ this is I layer it in always, and if I say sit and Bailey goes boom and he sits really fast, I don't tap. He beat the punch, right? Because he's thinking, oh, like this thing is so quick, I gotta be quicker than the punch, right? So when I say sit boom, nothing happens. He goes, oh, that's the game. You give the cue, I respond like this, nothing happens, right? If we do cue vibration remote, right, or stem, you're now creating a delay. Where the delay is most detrimental is during the recall. Because if he's running towards the street and it's come, vibrate, stem, that 1 to 2 second gap, a dog can cover a lot of ground, right? Whereas I'm wanting to come, boom, boom, already heading back to me, and I'm not worried about, is this dog gonna delay, or is this dog gonna keep going in the direction?
Yeah.
Okay? So as we go along, it's gonna make more sense. As you see me work with them and all that stuff, I'll explain things, and if you have any questions, you're always welcome to ask,
Got it.
okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go into the vibrate thing. So I do that to test that it's on, because when you go to turn it off, you're gonna see a red light here, right?
Yep.
But it's still on. Red light.
You have to turn this off.
Mm-mm.
No.
You have to hold it longer. Okay?
Oh,
So
got
a
it.
lot of people in the morning, they're rushing, boom, but it's still on, so then it dies throughout the day. Okay?
Got
So
it.
I do the vibrate when I turn it on to double check, and then when I turn it off to double check, is this still on or is this off? Once this is completely off, then I can turn my remote off, right?
Got it.
Because sometimes people turn the remote off and then forget to, and they hit the vibrate, and they say, oh, it's not vibrating, but it's on, right? So I like to do collar on, collar off, remote off.
Got it.
If you keep that sequence, you don't have to worry about accidentally leaving it on or anything like that.
Right.
Okay? I'm just going to go like this. And with this particular system, what's nice about it is that they recently upgraded it, where it says 1 to 2 dog. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So with Bailey, what we're going to find is his perception level. Maybe it's 20, right? And on 20, he's doing everything perfect. And then one day, you're in the home, 20's not working, 25, 30, 35, right? You're just like, what's going on here? You hit the vibrate function, maybe it's not vibrating. You see the green light, it's on. You're on dog 2.
That's right.
So as soon as I go back to dog 1,
Yeah.
now we have connection again,
Gotcha.
okay? So it happens if someone puts it in the pocket, it'll usually flip the switch. So if you ever get a second Bailey, you buy the same collar model, and you pair it to your system, now you have a 2-dog system,
Right.
okay? Whereas before, you would have to either buy a whole new single-dog
Yeah.
system or a whole new 2-dog system. So this helps cut the price down a little bit, if all you need to do is buy the collar.
Right.
Okay? Other than that, we have our dial, of course, clockwise goes up. This cap's at 127, counterclockwise goes down. We get the pager function, we got the switch, we get the NIC and continuous, we'll be training with the NIC, right? Continuous isn't anything good or bad, okay? As long as you hold the button down, he's feeling something, as soon as you let it go, it stops. NIC is momentary, even if you hold it, nothing else happens. Here with the display, let's say you're working with Bailey at night and you don't want to fiddle with this to see what your number is, all you do is hit this button real quick, and it turns on the back light.
Okay.
Yeah, okay?
Got it.
So I'm going to get them fitted here.
And we do want to start out like at 5 or something
We
because.
start off low, right?
Got it.
Okay.
Bailey, you're okay. Give him a treat.
Just wanted to. Hey.
What we're going to do, so go ahead and relax.
Sorry, sit down.
Okay. So here for Bailey, right, he's a little nervy. So the more you talk, the more energy you create, okay?
Okay.
So like, Bailey's already nervous, right? Like he's starting to be apprehensive. I'm just neutral. And I'm doing my thing very slowly. But then as you guys start to, Bailey, treat, come on, sit down here. Like, right, you start to create more energy and he picks up on that.
Got it.
I'm always neutral, okay? Neutral or upbeat. Here, because he's nervous, I don't want to bring in like, hey Bailey, come on, bud. You see that?
Yeah.
You see when I just brought in some energy because he's unfamiliar with me? How he goes into nervousness? Because it's too much, right? So I'm always, you guys are season long fans, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch some of the
You watch him, he's always just boom, like he's
Yeah.
very calm, he's assertive. And he also tailors his assertiveness according to the dog's personality type.
Yeah.
If he's got a softer dog, he doesn't come in super assertive. He comes in much more soft, but he's still expressing assertive energy.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here with Bailey, right? So as I start to work with them, if you start to give energy, right, you can cause him to become more anxious or nervous, and then it's not going to be healthy, right? So as best as you can, trust that your dog's well-being is in my best interest, that I'll work them through it, okay? And I'll explain things because when Bailey becomes stressed, what does Bailey do?
Like,
His leg, he'll jump up like what he did with you.
Sure, and what was all that an expression of?
anxiety.
His pent-up energy?
Close,
I thought he was like, that was like his release of tension. I don't know. Right?
you're
That's what we
close, because you
said.
said anxiety.
Yeah.
What you said is what he does,
Right.
right? It's nervousness, okay? Anxious energy tends to pace a lot. Nervous energy tends to trigger when there's a change in environment. So I was like, hey, buddy, right? You see that? when I brought in the energy, he goes, whoa, that's nervous. Okay, so fear, anxiety, and nervousness was very similar.
What did you say the pace was? 'Cause
Anxiety.
okay, he paces a lot, okay.
Okay, so okay. So moving around a lot and whining can be an expression of anxiety. Let's say Bailey calmed down and he's just settled, right? And then something changed in the environment. He goes, oh my God, what was that? That's nervousness. Fear tends to not want to let something go. And then when that thing that they're scared of moves in, they want to move away. And when it moves back, they want to move in. Okay? So they look very similar, but they're different due to those key things, right?
Do you mind if I give him a tree just?
That's fine. So like, let's say, you're bringing Bailey here. He's never been here before. It's a completely new environment, right? It would not be uncommon to see anxiety, okay? And like, let's say we let him go and he just kept pacing around the room. I would tell you, yes, your dog is anxious in the moment, right? Because he's going like, where are we?
No, he's getting a little better.
We hired Jesse, we're gonna work with him one-on-one and all that stuff, that you're not taking by surprise. He doesn't, right? So it's kind of like the first day in a new job. You don't know what your role is, right? You're kind of just like, what do I do? And you're kind of anxious. But once you're there and you learn the routine and you know your place in your job, you tend to relax, right? So same thing for the dog. As he becomes more familiar, he starts to relax. Or if it is unfamiliar environment, when you give structure, the structure brings familiarity, right? So if I'm walking with Bailey and his job is to always heel, right? And I take him into a new environment and I tell him to lay down at my feet. Even though he's in a new environment, the fact of him having a task at hand and him going, like, my job is to lay down because Dad said so. It allows him to be a bit more calm because he has a job. As opposed to, what am I supposed to do here? Like, what are we doing? What is this blue room that we're in? Type of thing. Okay? Question so far? Okay, so I'm gonna keep
Just wanted to see how far I was off.
You're pretty good.
Okay.
Okay. Now when we place it here, so up high is more sensitive, down low less sensitive. So I can get more across with less power here. Okay. Now I like to target the spots just behind the chin and between the chin, the jawbone, and the throat here, like this.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it'd be probably not good to have it right in his throat.
Right, because if you have it too snug in his throat, it's going to be uncomfortable, right? So I tend to target the sides. The back, I tend to stay away from, not because it's bad, but it tends to be too sensitive, right? So if I have a dog that's overly sensitive, and I have it here, they're more responsive, and I don't want them to be too fidgety. I want here is a nice spot, because it's sensitive enough that I can get more across with less power, as opposed to making him be like really like what's going on here,
right.
Okay? So we're gonna find his perception level first. So contraction means contact. Okay, you nervous?
Yeah, because you can tell with everything, he's just super anxious and sensitive to everything.
It's okay. I have a video that I just put up. It's a German Shepherd, his name's Raja, R-A-J-A. Twice Bailey's size.
Yeah.
And he did the same exact thing that Bailey did. He started to go like, what's this, right? And I just, calmly and surely put the collar on. And in the beginning, you see him start off very nervous. And as we progress, you see him start to relax more because I work him through the exercise. So it's nice, like if you see these things, like, oh, okay, like this is not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And he likes training. He's a working dog, so I don't know. The one thing that when we've done it before, do you use like verbal like praise?
Yeah, like I'll say good and stuff, right?
Okay.
Not treats, but like I don't know.
We've never done the clicker,
Yeah.
but instead of clicker, we just done yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was always like verbal cues.
Right.
I don't know if that's
So,
okay.
like when I work with them, like you'll hear them say good, right? But I'm not like overly exuberant because when you're trying to create obedience, like
Got it.
when you're using food, dogs tend to go into drive. What do you get? Right? Sit, okay. Right? But then I hold it for seconds and then they just pop up. Part of the problem is because of the excitement. So you can't have a very happy, excited dog being obedient at the same time, right? Like you can, but your average dog owner, it's like too much. As a dog trainer, when I see a dog that has a lot of drive, ball drive, food drive, prey drive, I'm like, this is awesome because I have a dog that I can put pressure on and have something that'll motivate them and reward them at the same time. So I try to keep things simple. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm saying focus on the basic stuff first, develop that skill, and then you can always layer in the other stuff afterwards.
Okay.
Okay? Because I can do it all. But then you're thinking, well, I got my food, and I got my leash, and I got the
Yeah.
him, and then he's nervous, and now I'm tight, right? You got a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on. So like, keep it simple. You can always bring in once you develop that skill set, okay? So what we're gonna do here is find Bailey's perception number, okay? Or level. So contraction means contact. Doesn't mean it's the right number, okay? When people see the contraction, they're like, oh, like it's moving, like you can stop now. I'm like, no. So like, let's say Bailey is looking at a squirrel, and you start to remote, right? And you keep going up 5, 10, 15, 20, and then maybe you hit 25, and you start to see this happen. So you know you have contact, but Bailey's still staring at that squirrel. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, right? And all of a sudden you hit 50 and you turn and you go, oh, what's up, right? But you had to go to 50 because he was so tuned into that squirrel that this wasn't registering.
Mhm.
So you have your perception level, which is the number that he feels, or contact level, and then the number that he actually responds to. And that's the one that's important.
Okay.
Okay, so contraction simply means contact, but you're looking for contact plus response.
I think the biggest hurdle we're gonna do is getting used to that.
Sure.
You know?
It's okay.
We do baby him a ton at home and
It's
whatnot,
okay.
so.
So
Yeah,
we're,
he's a literal child.
yeah, so it's okay. So we're gonna start off at 100. Just joking.
I was gonna say, Jesus.
Right, I've
I
been
tweaked
training
at
since
it.
7 o'clock today, so 5.
Yeah.
Okay,
When you hear me say tap, I'm actively
Okay.
pressing the button. So tap,
okay.
tap, tap. Okay.
Okay.
So 5. Tap, 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 tap. Nothing.
So that like,
No, that
Okay.
was there's something outside. Tap, 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 tap. Nothing. 15.
and you just do by 5, obviously, just to kind
Yeah,
of keep
yeah.
it simple.
There it is. You see that?
Yep.
Mhm.
But he's still looking at me. So should he be like,
So how does he know that you're the one doing it though?
He doesn't. So the dogs can't associate this, right? Like, because people show them the remote before they remote them. You don't ever want to do that. There's a disconnect, right? This is why this is my favorite tool, because it removes any confrontation. Prong collar is confrontation. There's a lot of yanking and
Exactly,
stuff,
yeah.
right? This is completely neutral, right?
but
So
what if he feels that he's looking at me?
it doesn't
'cause-
associate the two. Like, he's not
So
thinking.
okay, just because we've trained him together, but I would say majority of the time I would be the handler
Mhm.
in certain cases, or in class, I guess.
Sure. So you're thinking like he would associate it to you since you're the one that does like a
Right,
Okay.
so he wouldn't even associate this to training, okay, this is brand new, okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back down to 15 again. Actually, 15.
So you're looking for a response of saying like, hey, what's going on?
Sure. Watch. 20. A little bit. But you see how he's still in phase? 23. Yeah. A little bit. 26. Yeah. What's that little rest? Yeah. 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 Right? A little bit. 29. Yeah. 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 Wait a second. Yeah. 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 See how he's sending back away? So, like what I said, the squirrel, right? Nothing, you keep going up.
You see it at
eventually it's
15,
like,
yeah.
oh, right? So that was contact level, and then we had perception level, okay?
So it's also nice to see that he's not scared once he feels it, right?
Right? Now, recognize that this is a stressor, right? Because it's an aversive. So earlier, when I was talking about his response, and you said he was jumping and doing this, and then you said anxiety. So you're correct in naming, like it was a specific behavior. He was correct in naming what it was the expression of it, but it was nervousness. Nervousness is how he responds to stress. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you go back to my example of first day at work, we're stressed. Anxiety is the stress response. So it's not uncommon to see more nervousness in the beginning
Mhm.
because this is a stressor, but this is a controlled context. So in the beginning, he's nervous. What do? I help him through it. And then he goes, oh, this is actually a communicator. Okay, and as we start to layer it in, it's gonna make much more sense, okay?
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
So this is how I always do this first. Before I get started with the dog, I sit there and I get my contact number, okay? And I'm like, okay, cool, I have contact. Now what's your perception number? 29, perfect. Now let's get started, okay? So I'm gonna reset a little bit and go back down, go to 24 here.
Quick question though, if the thing is on 2 or 1 battery, will that change the pressure?
The output? Yes and no. I think it's more so if your
This
collar
is-
is blinking red or orange.
Okay,
Okay, it just means it's gonna be less power. I feel like I've kind of had that, but it's never been like such a problem that I was like, we can do it.
I need to go, okay,
Yeah,
got it, okay.
okay, so we're at 24, tap, 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 29,
It's not even like twitching.
correct, so then when he tap, tap,
Is it like maybe not on his,
tap, 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 there it is. Okay, so you saw how we had no contact. Guess what my number is?
35,
40?
55?
56, okay? So what I did there was I found contact again. The reason why I did this is, so I'm gonna start to give you, this is realistic training, this is real life. He has fur, it acts as a buffer. If the fur gets in the way, 25 might be perfect, and then he's running around playing with his buddies, and it gets jostled, and you walk out the dog park, and it's not 25 anymore, right? You have to adjust it here. The reason why I go to this is in case of an emergency, if something goes down and he's running, you now have to figure out how do I get Bailey back using only this tool. And it's literally that process. He's telling me contact, no contact, too low or too high, right? So earlier, at 20 we felt it. At 29, he started to give a response. And then he did something, and the shuffle
Shut
shut
off, yeah.
And then I was gravity tapping going up, and I knew I had contact because this happened. Then I looked. So as you get used to this, the number doesn't mean anything. Like when I train dogs personally, I never look at the remote. Look at the dog. So I'm over here, tap, tap, bumping it, tap, tap, response, cool. Is the response I want? Yes, excellent. And then later I might look and go, oh, okay, it was 32, right? For the owners, because you need reference point, you're developing a skill, you have references.
Got it.
You see that? That's what the numbers for me are for, or just reference points. So if I have a dog, reactive dog, that lunges and barks when they see dogs, their obedience number as a reference point might be 25 to 35 range. But then through experience, as we see dogs and they become reactive, I might find I have to go from 25 all the way to 65 for the reactivity to stop. I have a reference point. So the next time I see a dog,
You can go up to that point.
I'm gonna go to 65. Like, what's the point of doing 25 to 65 if those 40 numbers aren't gonna work? You see that? So I get to the answer faster. So the faster I can stop the reactivity, then the dog goes, well, it's not even worth it because I don't get to do it for anything longer than a split second. Okay? And again, as we teach this, it becomes more and more kind of instinctual, I guess. Like, you don't even think about it. Like, a lot of my clients towards the end of the training, they're not even looking at the remote anymore. They're looking at the dog.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so when we have contact, I go back down again. Okay, so I'm gonna go down to 18 here from the 56.
So is that what you do? Like, you'll get that contact when you need it, but then an hour later, you're walking the dog, you'll maybe bring it down a notch just to see if he still has contact or whatnot?
Right, so whenever we go up higher, because I already know for the most part, his number is in that 30s or low, or mid-20s range.
Right.
That's when he feels it. But in that moment, I have to go to 56. So that's telling me there's something up with the contact. But then once I get it, I go down low to see can I get it back lower again. Okay.
Right.
Now if I keep fiddling with it, which I have been, I'm already in that higher range. That I'm going to actually adjust the collar. Okay. To see if I make it more snug, if it will be better. So here, if we look at the box itself, and it swivels, you see that?
Yeah.
It didn't take much effort. I'm gonna try tightening it one more notch. Because once we have good contact, it shouldn't be a guessing game. It shouldn't be these really drastic numbers. It's one thing if we're working with like I think actually 1, 2, 3 past, like a husky.
Okay.
Like dogs with really long, thicker coats are difficult to work with
So you want it
because
pretty
it's
tight.
so condensed, right?
Yeah.
Now with a guy like him, his coat's pretty standard. We should, once it's fitted correctly, have pretty consistent contact that it's not all over the place. Whenever we adjust our collar, we're gonna go back down low again. We're gonna go down to 10 here. 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 20, 10, 10, 10, 25, 10, 10, 10, 30, 10, 10, 10.
You said, yeah, it's not even,
There it is.
yep.
It's real subtle.
Mhm.
You see that? Because of the fur. So then here, if I do this, and I'll just like kind of pull the skin back a bit, and then I'm gonna reset. 20, 10, 10.
Yep.
There it is, 10. You see that? And then 25, 10, 10. There, you see how you backed away there? 10, 10, 10, 10. 29, 10. There it is. 10. 10. 10. So when he shakes his neck, you can see how it's inhibiting the contact. Right, so just a second ago I had contact and here it's off. There it is again. You see it?
Yep.
It's 47. You see how 47 is not facing him? Right? So this is why I tell people don't get stuck on the number, okay? Because there's a lot of variables here. That's the one con about e-collar, is that with the fur, but once you get used to it, it's just, okay, just go here, okay, right now it's 50, and then what you'll learn to recognize is power. So this could be 25, and maybe there's bad contact, and I go to 50, and it's still this. That's not a 50, that's a 25. There's a 50. You start to learn like, oh, you'll tap 50 and you'll see a big response, and then you'll just naturally go down because you're recognizing it as now you're feeling the full power, okay? So I'm going to start working with him. I'm going to teach Bailey here the concept of pressure on, pressure off, okay? Pressure on when we need him to do something, pressure off once he performs. We're probably going to see him get a little nervous and push back a bit. It's okay, okay? Just remain neutral. I'm going to guide him through it, and after we repeat it a few times, you should start to see him be a bit more direct in his movement, okay? Because he's shaking a bit, I'm going to go down, go to 22 here. Tap, tap, tap.
And is it just like the first class that we're like learning the tool and whatnot?
Correct.
We'll be using,
Tap.
and then the future classes will be the ones handling?
No, you'll work with him today.
Okay, got it.
This is 35. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Good.
This will be helpful at the vet when he's trying to get their weight.
Oh, yeah.
He never gets on the fucking scale.
Tap, that's nervous. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap. Good. Tap, tap. Good. Tap, tap.
I'm glad to see that he's not like scared.
That's why we do tap, tap.
We don't have to stay quiet.
Gradual,
She's like, shh, like you're working.
gradual pressure. It's all tap, tap,
Right.
tap, about how you introduce the tool, okay? So I can see his nervousness spiking here, right? Can you see it? What's his nervous outlet right now? Tap, tap, tap.
It's literally just walking, pacing, jumping, like trying to climb.
Yeah.
He's never been the best at staying still, especially when he's nervous.
Yeah, and that's anxious energy too, because anxious energy wants to move, right? So it's a real simple concept right now that I'm teaching him that, tap, 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 that every time he hops off of the placemat, pressure goes off, right?
Right.
Tap. Good. And as soon as he hops back on, it goes away. So he's starting to understand it kind of like a tap, 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 tap. A safe place, if you will. You see that? So I'm not yanking him to the placemat, I'm guiding.
Yeah.
I'm doing just enough to direct him, but this is what's motivating him to do it, okay? If I drive Bailey to the placemat and place him on there, I do all the work. Mentally, he's stuck on, I don't want to do it,
That's right.
okay? This is the only tool that can make a dog do something and think they did it, but really you're manipulating, okay? So this is how I start to build trust with dogs that are nervous of me, because if this is the stressor and I'm guiding them and then they go in the direction that I'm guiding them in, I'm technically helping them find the answer. That's how I can start building trust with them, indirectly. No confrontation, without me having to do very
You're
much.
talking to him and whatnot, right?
Exactly, right? So, tap, tap, tap. Good. So the moment Bailey goes, pressure off. Okay? We're at 29 right now. Okay?
So nervous, I can feel you, baby.
Go. Good. Tap.
Okay.
Good. Tap. Good.
And are you purposely walking around just to kind of...
Good.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think we should tighten up his actual collar?
He's okay for now. Yeah. Good. Tap.
Love it.
Tap. Tap. Good. So now it's becoming less and less pressure,
Right.
less and less frequency of the remote to get him to actually go on. There was a couple where he just went like this, boom,
Yeah.
like that. That's the ideal, right? Where even when you see the thought process, boom, you'll settle them. And I can get this, so right now, see how he's standing? This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's mentally uncomfortable. He's stressed.
It looks like it.
I can actually use this to get him to settle down and relax all the way.
Right.
Okay? That video I told you about with Raja, in the video, he's the same way, where he's standing and I'm remoting and I get him to just lay down and relax with no words. Through the remote pressure, I'm able to tell him, you don't need to be anxious, you don't need to be nervous, you can relax. And he does so. So you can get really nuanced with this tool as you get used to employing it, right? And it's really just that pressure on, pressure off concept, okay? So I'm gonna do a few more.
So in positive reinforcements, once he gets on, you'd be like, yes, yes, good boy, right? Are we kind of just steering away from that?
So I'm doing like neutral good.
Right.
Good, right? Because remember earlier, I said positive, you're getting drive. The sit looks really nice because the dog's so happy, but they won't maintain it because of all that excitement, right?
Okay.
So you can't have a dog be in that driving mode, but also be like super focused on you,
Yeah.
right? It's a trade-off here. And I'm not against doing food and stuff, but if you're just trying to get your dog under control, I would say get the basics down. Once you get the basics down, you're more than welcome to reintroduce everything else.
So I just put the food
We've
away.
we've never used the word good with him.
Oh, sure, you use yes, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like you can use that because he doesn't understand the words.
Yeah.
Right?
He just understands like the diction.
Correct, right? It's more like my energy. Good. Like that's what he's picking up on.
Okay.
By definition, he doesn't know what these words mean,
Okay.
right? I keep it consistent so that he starts to eventually associate, like, oh, when Jesse says good, everything turns off, right? So in training, we have the 4 quadrants. You have positive reinforcement, positive punishment, negative reinforcement, negative punishment, right? What we're doing here is positive punishment, negative reinforcement, okay? What that means is positive means adding, negative means subtracting. So punishment is something the dog doesn't like. That's this. The moment he performs, negative reinforcement is removing something the dog doesn't like to then make it a positive. Positive reinforcement is adding something good when the dog does something you like. Negative punishment is taking away something good when the dog does something you don't like. That's how the quadrants work, okay? So we're working in 2 quadrants if you want to get like scientific about it.
Right.
But I always just tell people, when I need the dog to do something, pressure on. Once they do it, pressure off. That's like the easiest way to think about it, right? And like right now, we've had like a 3 to 5 minute conversation, and he's not trying to sneak off again.
Not even move his paws or anything. Yeah,
He's still uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
He's still processing, but he's doing it less and less because he's understanding. Oh, when I do this, this happens. When I hear, nothing happens, right? So now I'm going to start teaching him our release command and put down 25. Do you guys already have one?
It's okay.
Okay?
Okay, what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might have to remind me because I use break, so if you ever hear me say break, just say his release words okay.
Okay.
Okay, so okay means your job is done. Okay? So I'm going to just repeat this a few times. I'm at 24 now. Tap, tap. Good.
He's like looking at us like, help me, help me. That's what I'm
Good.
That's not good.
Well, he does look for you for help and direction, right? You're his security. Now here, you not helping doesn't make him think anything negative of you. Okay? Think of it as he's going into a mode of like, I can't tap, 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 can't tap, or don't know how to handle this. And by you being indifferent, you're essentially telling him, you're okay, you can do it. When you start to worry, you're telling them there's something to be worried about.
Oh, right.
Okay, so it's like if you look at a child and they're with their parents, and the child looks up and the parents look scared, we think the child's gonna think,
Right. Scary.
I'm scared too,
Yeah.
right? So here, even though you're not really, because you know like he's safe, right? You're right here, he's not in any immediate harm. If he looks at you and he sees you going like, ugh, he's like, well, apparently you're not a fan of what's going on right now,
I'm not.
so I'm not gonna be a fan.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always neutral or indifferent or upbeat when I do this stuff, okay? So I'm at 24, tip, 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 good, tip, tip, good, tip.
And do you think we should
Yeah.
keep it on whether we're training or not, just for him to get used to it?
You can.
Or will he just kind of get used to it through our training?
If you're doing like consistent training and stuff, like you're good. It doesn't hurt. Like I've plenty of my clients do it. The other thing that I recommend that they do, tip, is when they're gonna put it on, they'll present it, give the dog a treat, put
That's
it
what
on,
we've been doing.
give them a treat. When they go to remove it, they'll grab it, give them a treat, and remove it, give it a treat, give the dog a treat, right? So there's 4 rewards throughout each use. And then the next, like my dogs, they hear the e-collar, they come running. Because they know it means freedom, they're gonna go off leash and all that stuff. So they come running to it. Every dog is different. Now my dogs are all stable in the sense that they didn't have nervousness or anxiety or anything like that, right? If we have a nervous dog, it may take a little bit of time, a little bit longer, but eventually once he gets used to it, he's like, oh, this is just like life now, right? It's nothing too bad. Like, as long as I do what they say, nothing happens, right? And they get treats, cool. Yeah, it just means that his recovery time is gonna be a little bit longer, okay? 24.
And do you suggest charging it every night, every time you use it?
If you're just using this for training, like, you're probably gonna be charging this every 7 to 10 days.
Got it.
Okay,
That's nice.
if you're using it more often, then you may be charging it every 2 to 3 days. And the battery signal here is for your remote, not for your collar,
Right.
just so that you're aware. Okay. So I'll do a couple more.
And would you recommend using it every time you go for a walk, or really just?
For now, because like what you can do for this week is put it on them, but you're not using it, right? Because we're not doing the healing exercise yet. But definitely when you're doing any good place work stuff, you'll be using this. So like right now, I'm not saying place or anything. I'm simply remoting,
And
right?
guiding him.
Correct. And on some of these, I'm not even guiding him anymore. I'm just remoting, and he's assuming now. Every time I felt this, the answer has been to come here. I'm creating the association. Okay. Tap, tap. A lot of tap, tap. People. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Let's try going to 29 again. They'll say, Jesse, why don't you say place?
Because he knows go to bed.
Right. So like, let's say I didn't say go to bed and he went straight there. Gives me nothing to teach,
Right.
right? So I remove the word, teach the pressure first, and just come back and layer it in later. So
Okay.
now go to your bed has meaning. It has connotation with the remote. The other thing is, if I have a dog that has zero training and doesn't have any phrases, even if I said place, the dog doesn't know what the hell I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they will never by definition understand what we're saying. They just associate what we're saying, right? So right now I'm just building that baseline association. Okay, good. I'll do a couple more.
Sure.
29. Good, 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 good.
Mm.
You see he's thinking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stay is also implied. I don't say stay with certain commands. Okay? So like down, sit, and place, or go to your bed all have implied stay attached. You just give the cue. Tip, 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 tip. Good. Thanks there.
So it's like when you see him go into it, you just kind of wait for him to,
I lay off the pressure.
right, to see if
Because I
he
can
can
see
make.
the decision.
Yeah.
If he does it, I'm just limited range of motion. Right, so right there he wanted to go to you like, Mom. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, I'm not gonna help you. So he can't get to you. So he goes, okay, well I can't get to Mom, and this is going off. Well, let me see if I just go back.
Okay.
Ball turns off, right? So essentially I'm teaching him there's no other option but compliance,
Mm.
right? Which some people when they think about like, well that's so bad. I'm like, no, like
No.
you need 100% compliance because in real life if something happens, if you don't have that, you're gonna lose your dog, okay?
Mhm.
So I'm just teaching him that when he feels that way, he's not gonna get that security blanket, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Tip, it's
Yeah, I think that was
okay.
us.
That was literally me. I adjusted myself.
Tip, tip.
Nah,
36.
gets it, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm back up.
Mhm.
I think that's because when he's doing something or you make that decision, we have to be careful of like doing it, I feel like.
What do you mean, like making sure the,
Just
No,
because
just
when you
making
see,
sure
when
that
you
I
s-
follow
yeah,
through.
when you see him walking to the bag, like, and not tapping it,
mhm.
might make him think otherwise, like, oh, maybe.
Oh, so good point.
Right.
So that's a yes and no answer. So if, let's say I already had the word, and I said place, and he goes, and I tap too late, what would we create?
Maybe he'd be like,
You would,
oh,
like-
maybe it's not,
Like,
maybe it's
Right.
not the right
And I'm
place.
correct, right? So you actually want to do that. So what's going to happen here is I give the cue, he goes to perform it, I tap too late. Uh-oh, wrong decision. I kick in because he needs to do it. Then he goes, wait a minute. I thought I wasn't supposed to do it.
Right.
What happens if I do it? He hops back on, it goes away, he goes, oh, I was right. So then this means always perform the command you're given. So you technically have to force confusion. That's why, like, especially with the recall, I'll tell all my clients, whenever you call your dog, always remote them. Because at some point you're gonna remote them too late, they're gonna go wrong, and they're gonna go the opposite way, and you're gonna need them, you need to teach them, like, no, you always come back. Same thing with these commands, right? So, you know, we have the teaching phase, then we have like the proofing phase, or clarifying phase and proofing, and then we go to like kind of cementing it in his head. There's like a lot of little stages that we do. So if you give the cue and he does it, yes, like technically you lay off the pressure. Yep. But if you tapped too late, it's okay. If you create confusion, it's okay. I want to see that so that we work him through it while he's still on a leash. So by the time we get to off leash, I'm not worried. I'm like, yeah, I've already created tons of confusion. and we proofed it all. Like, he understands that tap always means tap to perform the task that he was given. Okay? Questions? Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Alrighty, so go ahead and come over. He's probably gonna wanna charge at you.
He's gonna want to jump.
Yeah, it's okay. Very good, he's holding you well, yeah. Good, right? So all I'm doing is limiting, okay? Now, he's still under the command. So when I hand you the leash, he may assume
It's okay.
I'm free. If that happens, you're gonna automatically kick in with the remote, okay? So the rhythm I use when I'm in this kind of teaching phase is tap, 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 yeah, just like real static, okay? And then I help him using gradual pressure to direct him, okay? You're at 28 here. And then here you go. Yep. And I'm gonna have you, instead of just going into okay, you're actually gonna start by walking around him.
Got it.
Tap,
Tap. Tap.
and then hold still.
Tap.
Tap. Yep, there you go. And then relax. And move. Perfect. Tap, tap, tap. Perfect.
Good. And we're comfortable at this, right?
Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. Good.
Good. And we don't want to say stay or because we use weight.
Right. So here, you're just teaching the concept, right? You're teaching the concept of when I send you here, you don't come off. And we're doing that all non-verbally. Remember, your dog doesn't understand anything that you say, right? You've created association. So here, we're building the meaning of the word without the word, and then we'll layer it in, okay? So now, go ahead and pause. Wait a second. Okay.
Okay.
And then walk away, and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna present them just like about 3 to 4 squares away from the placemat here. Yep, go ahead and come to a stop.
Really?
And wait a second.
Just start tapping?
One second. Yeah, yeah.
Tap.
Right there, and relax. Good. And then
Now
walk
we're just
around.
walking around.
Correct. So the reason why I do the walk around is because the movement tends to attract the dog, right? Especially
It
when
also
it's young
makes him nervous too sometimes when people
or moving around.
move around him.
Yeah.
He's not sure.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to tell once he really gets the concept and is comfortable, because he'll start to go onto the mat and just lay down. Right now he's up there. That's better. See how he's sitting? So he's starting to get a little bit more relaxed.
Just because, yeah.
Yeah, right. So here, with the placemat, it's very lenient. It means go here. I don't care if you stand. I don't care if you sit. I don't care if you lay down. Just stay within the perimeter of the bed. Okay, so it's super lenient. So that's why we're not saying sit, we're not saying down or anything like that. It's just go there and stay there, okay? And then you're
Amazing how, like, just in a matter of minutes, he's now understanding it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pressure on, pressure off.
Yeah. It's like,
Now hold right there. And, okay,
okay.
good. We're gonna do a couple more reps. Consequence or aversives don't have to be harsh. I think that's what people have a hard time thinking. Because they're, especially when we use terms like positive punishment, right? I don't like using the word punishment because it creates this idea in the person's head. I always say corrections or pressure, right? And then once they see it in effect, they're like, oh yeah, you're not punishing the dog in the sense of the word punishing, right? And then just that concept of like, when they feel that contractual pressure and they're responding to it, and you're gradually going up, and he's dictating the number, right? If everything is happening on 10, we're at 10. If everything's happening at 45, we're at 45, right? He's telling you what's too high and what's too low. Whenever you're ready, you'll.
Okay. Wait a little bit. Really? Oh my God, you tap. He's really thinking about it.
Yep, tap.
Tap.
There you go. Now hold right there. Let's try something. Put in pause right there. I'm gonna have you do is tap.
See if he sits.
See if he just, yeah. And this isn't a sit. Or like if I remote a dog and they sit in response, it's not a sit.
Yeah.
It's a relax.
Relaxed.
Sit is mechanical. There we go. Getting closer. Sit is a mechanical response. Right? When I say this, you put your butt down. But he could be excited,
yeah.
right? But when I tap with no words and the dog sits, it's not sit, it's relax. Right? So if like Caesar, when the dog lays down, like he's in a submissive state.
Yes.
But it's not a down, right? It's because since he used energy and got the dog to calm down, a relaxed state is a down state. Okay, so it's learning not to just read the how would you say, the physical positioning of the dog, but deeper in. Tap. Good. And seeing past it. Because a lot of people just assume, well, they're sitting, they're not going to move. Well, they're definitely going to move. They're super excited, right? Like it's clear. Here, he's at a threshold right now. Go and relax. There you go. He's at a threshold right now. So he sat, right? And I'm like, cool. And then he started to contemplate laying down. But then he kind of kept going like this, right? That was the brain not wanting to relax, but not wanting to. And eventually he gives it to old habit, which is, I just move.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So for an anxious, nervous type dog, they want to move to get off that energy. So here you're going contradictory. And you're saying, settle. We've just not gotten to that complete point yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he's wanting to, but old habit is not allowing him to.
Mm-hmm.
So the
So
more
is
you
it
challenge
learning?
him, yes, the more you challenge him, you'll start to see it'll become less and less time for him to go there and just go into a relaxed state. Okay? Go ahead and give the okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, we're gonna do another. And I'm gonna have you this time, when you bring them here, okay? You're gonna be like this. I'm gonna have you not move the leash and just tap first. Okay?
Okay. Really? Tap.
Right there. Good. You know why I had to do that?
To see if he understands tap in its place.
That was one thing. The other thing is on the last one. Hold your leash in the middle. Give a tap.
Give him tap.
Yeah.
Tap.
No. Okay. Tap.
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 Yep, good. And hold your leash kind of like this, across you. Take up a little bit of slack here. Take up slack.
Take up slack.
Pick up. Take up. There you go. And then that's good. Okay. Give a tap.
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 Don't move your leash.
Sorry.
Because what I'm trying to show you here is how to communicate via
Two.
the remote, right? So right there you did 3 to 4 taps and there was no response, right? So what does that tell me?
It's not hiding.
Yeah, he wasn't really feeling it, right? Until you kicked in with the leash and then the response happened. But you're trying to shape everything to the remote. I do this for 2 reasons. One, to teach you the nuances of it. The second is,
By the way, I love this.
good. The second is, we tend to use the leash a lot, right? To control our dog. When he's off leash, it's not there anymore,
Yeah.
right? The more you use your leash, the more it becomes a part of the command, right? But also for you, you're reinforcing habit, right? Of always going to the leash, and I want you to unlearn that and go to your remote. Because, and I've had this happen to clients, the dog takes off, first thing they do, grab the leash, try to catch the dog, right? And they get rope burn or whatever, because maybe they had the 30-foot leash and it just pulled through their hand. And I'll be like, I just use your remote. Just say a panic. Right? Everybody's first instinct when they panic is try to physically restrain or contain.
Yeah.
I always jump to the remote. Okay? So I'm already trying to build that in you by having you use that more and do less of the leash. Now, directional pressure is okay. But like right there, the worst that could have happened, because you shortened your leash, was that he would have hopped off. A little bit of direction back, tap back on, and then keep tapping to see if I can create a complete settle. okay? Now, for you this week, when you practice with them, I really just care about the sending and getting them comfortable with pressure on, pressure off stuff. But if you're wanting to advance a bit more yourself, and you're like, okay, he got this is really easy. Let me see if I can create that relaxed state that Jesse was talking about.
By using the tool.
Correct, right? Now, the reason why we go up incrementally, 5, 10, 15, 20, is that so that we don't catch them off guard. If I go 15 to 45, that's a pretty big jump, right? But if I go 15, 20, 25, 30, and nothing's happening, I already know there's no contact. So should I hit 55, it's not going to be a because he's not feeling the full power, right? He's feeling part of the power. So by the time I hit 55 and he feels it, I go, okay, cool. There's connection stuff. Let me go back down again and retry. Okay. Once we start to learn our reference points, we might find his range is 15 to 25. You already know out the gate where you need to start at. But then when there's like squirrels around, his number might be higher. When his best buddy is around at the dog park, his number might be higher. You're learning the context and you're having reference points. Okay? Questions so far? Swap handlers?
You gotta stop being on pins and needles.
I know.
Alright, you need to be your normal self.
And tap,
Tap,
yep,
tap,
yep,
Tap.
tap. A little bit of direction,
tap,
tap.
tap.
Right there, and relax. Good.
Tap, tap.
And hold.
Can you give him guidance? Yeah.
There you go, good. And when he pops off, what I'm gonna have you do is stop your movement,
Okay.
because with your movement, he's more inclined to follow you.
Yeah.
So when he breaks off, I hold, I direct, I correct, he goes back on, and then I can start my movement again.
Okay.
Okay?
And you'd probably want her to keep the hand down,
You can keep your hand down, yeah.
just because like if you lift it up, it might give him guidance or whatnot.
Yeah, or he might feel like unintentional tension, right?
Okay.
If it's up and stuff. So, and the other thing is that people tend to carry around a lot of tension as is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients on the first day are up here, and I want to teach them to just be relaxed and let the tool do the work for them.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Good? And then pause for a second. Yep, and then wait. And then same thing, you're gonna tap without touching the leash, okay?
Okay.
Tap,
Tap.
tap.
Should I walk with him?
Now take a step forward, tap,
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 Tap.
right there, tap,
tap,
tap, a little bit of guidance, tap,
tap.
tap,
Right.
right there. No, you're good. I can tell that it's super subtle, but I was looking at it, I'm always looking at the neck where the box is,
Mhm.
so I can see the contraction. There we go. What number are you at now?
28.
Yeah, we haven't changed it.
28?
Yeah, I haven't changed it.
Let's try 31. Good. Okay.
There was one time we sent him to doggy daycare
Mhm.
and Pups Club. I don't know if you heard of it or not. We saw on the cam, it's just so much stimulation at once. So whenever we go now, he's like terrified and whatnot. But
Mhm.
the first day, or every time he's gone, he's literally stood and walked around and never sit or lay down for like,
Pause.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's anxious.
yeah, for
He's
like
not relaxed.
8 hours.
Mhm.
And to see this, because I thought that he was gonna never get in that relaxed state.
Mhm.
Not never, but it would take a while, but
Mhm.
it's nice to see that it's actually working faster than I thought.
Bailey. Tap, tap, tap.
Mhm. So, it's really counterintuitive to people. Right? Do tap.
Maybe because you looked at it and went like
I
this.
know, I didn't do
It's like, you're fine, right? Because, so with this tip,
So now we're working to him, using the tool to keep
Yeah.
him in a relaxed state.
tip, go to 34. Tip, tip, 37. 40? 43? 46?
You don't want us to like get his attention to
Mm.
maybe, okay.
49? Right there. Pause.
Oh, that's amazing.
You see that?
That is amazing. It's so.
So, all right. I'm glad you got to see that.
Yeah.
So,
Were you making eye contact with him though?
yeah, like I was frozen, right? Because we were locked on. So,
So it's okay to make eye contact with him when you're using this?
oh yeah, going back to you real quick when you said like, you looked at him, like you can be normal, right? Like if you're like normal neutral, but you have to hold him to the standard,
Mhm.
right? So like, hey bud, and he gets up and starts to step off. Nope, can't do that. So your energy is like the same, but since he's under command, he's still required to hold the position.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if you came up like, hey buddy, he should be like, oh, I don't care that he's excited, but he should be contained. Okay?
Okay, I was gonna say it might be counterintuitive that you,
Yeah, because
if we went up to him with that, hey buddy, buddy,
Right.
they would expect him to be in that relaxed state.
Correct, right? You're gonna create excitement.
Right,
In that moment, I would care that he doesn't break off,
right,
right? But for training's sake, you want to be neutral,
Right.
right? Because you're just learning, right? So I'm trying to make things as super simple as possible, so that this way you're making, like right now you're like, oh, that's crazy, right? Like, did you think that was gonna happen?
I never thought that would ever happen, honestly.
So-
I can't believe he's laying like this and we're talking and he's not pacing between the three
Yes.
of us.
Well, there's that, but also the fact that you created that, right?
Right,
So we were at 28,
Mhm.
and I went 31. 34. And then at 37, I saw the contact. And like earlier, he was distracted, not registering. Right? Then we started to go higher. What did we end on?
49.
49.
okay, nice.
How did you start to feel when we started to go more higher?
I mean, it didn't make me feel bad because he wasn't reacting. He
Sure.
was whimpering.
But were you like, was there any concern? Like, no?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
No,
I
no.
think we're past that at this point.
Yeah, it's not so much the number now.
I keep forgetting it's not like it's a shock, it's just
Contraction,
yeah.
right? But the fact that you went gradually, that you could see that it wasn't startling him.
Yeah,
Right? And that gradual increase allowed you to see, yeah, we have contact with the body, but not with the brain.
yeah.
Mhm.
So once you hit that 49, right away he kind of backed off and you did 1 or 2 taps and I said pause. Because you'd already communicated. And then I was letting the brain make a decision. And in that moment he went into relaxation.
Mhm.
Okay? So this is the nuance that remote collar allows you to do at the press of a button. Okay?
So at home, should we put, like, his bed is in a corner right now? Not in a corner, it's like nooked between his desk and our couch between us. So should we put his bed in the middle of the room for this, like,
So
Does it matter where it's
Yeah.
at?
we have 2 aspects to this. We have the send, and then you have the stay. Right now we're working on the send, right? I have a 3-rule tap. If I don't get it by the first tap, then by the 3rd tap, right? I bump it. So that's what I was having you do right now. Those tap, 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 bump, tap. That's my general rule of thumb, right? Otherwise you'll be there all day at like 28.
yeah.
So you now have a structure.
Mhm.
Is what I want to see here is tap, boom, real immediate, 1 tap, he just sends, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to fall asleep.
Yeah.
It does not.
blows my mind.
So when you do this exercise, 3 to 5 minutes, one for each of you, and you should be fine. Okay, because you're just trying to create ease. The next half is going to be you go there and you stay there. Okay, and the way we do this is what I like to do is take the dog bed. If you have your couch and your TV, place it right by the couch. Okay, collar him up, leash him up. Tap, tap, you send them to the bed. You sit down on your couch, step on your leash, watch some TV. 30 minutes goes by, he goes, I'm bored, I'm gonna move. Tap, he comes back, back to watching TV. 5 minutes go by, again, tap, boom, right? So you're training as you go about your day. And you don't have to be gradual. You don't have to do 5 minutes, to 10 minutes, to 15. If you decide like, hey, let's watch Titanic. Let's do 3 hours of training. Boom. You're not doing anything. And he's close to you, so it's no work, right? Now, if you put him there and your couch is here, that's work.
Mhm.
But in the beginning, you want to do phases. So phase 1 is always dog at my feet. Is dog at my feet, okay? So yeah, I think it's the way he's breathing on the mat. So for the duration work, whenever you know you're going to be immobile for a while, and it's real easy for you to just move it and step on the leash. The leash lets you know what he's doing.
Yeah.
If I start to feel tension, I know he's moving. I take a look, tap, settle him down, go back to watching again, right? And then once you're done, okay, he gets up, he's done, take off your equipment, you're golden, okay? And there's no too much or too little really of the duration stuff. So here, see how he's starting to get unsettled? What's your number?
49.
Go down to 33.
Would you recommend tapping when he's getting unsettled?
Right. So you're at 33? Give it a tap. 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 36.
And what is this teaching him at this moment?
That's it. Tap. And relax. Wait a second. Tap. Tap. Okay, tap. Okay. Shorten each a little bit. Good. Yeah, then he rebels. So here, if we have anxious nervous energy, remember he wants to move. And we've been talking about 5 to 8 minutes. Starts to become overwhelming, or whelming. So then he starts to do this.
Should I tap?
Tap. 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 What's your number?
36.
39. Okay.
Right now?
And tap. 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 And wait. Tap. 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 42. And shorten it a bit more. Tap. 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 He's gonna tap. 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 This is all normal. Tap. Yep. Now pause. Yep. Good. Good. So good. Tap. Tap.
Got it back in.
Tap. Tap. Okay. And good. Tap. 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 It's okay. Tap. Yep. Lemon. Yep. Tap. Lightly go up. Tap. Tap. And relax. Tap. You see that twitch there? 1 second. There it is. Good. Okay. Did you see that big twitch at the end?
Mm-hmm.
That was the full power. So it was real subtle, and all of a sudden it was boom, big contraction, and you're at 42, right? So go ahead and go back down to 33. So here, when you're trying to contain a nervous, anxious energy, it wants to move. So when you try to keep it stationary, after so much time, you start to get the growing anxiety, right? And he starts to get whiny. If you ignore it, it will just express itself as him coming off. So if you want to be proactive, I start tapping. And you created some confusion there.
Right, I was just gonna say that.
You created confusion, okay? The only way to teach him what to do, so like, you created so much confusion that he's like, okay, well, this must not be the answer. Let me try to hop off again. You kept the pressure on, he's like, oh, that's not the answer. Because the answer was not just be there, but be there and relax. Right? And it took 3 to 5 minutes of just gradual, just bumping and taking your time. And when we're tapping, when you would see him move, and I would say pause, the movement was the brain deciding or trying to figure out, what do I need to do? So I give him space. What does he do? Then he stopped and he was like still whining. Kicked in with the pressure again. He moved again, I stopped. What's your next decision? Still whiny, kicked in again. Stopped once I started to see him move. He sat down. Take out the pressure. So you're fine-tuning the conversation. Okay, now this is advanced stuff, but this is just to show you the power of e-collar and the fact that it's the way that you use the tool, the way that you teach the tool is what teaches a dog or gives them the perception of it. Okay, if you treat it as a terrible thing and a punisher, it becomes a terrible thing and a punisher. If you teach it as a line of communication, it becomes a line of communication. Okay, now I'm not saying that I've never used the e-collar as a punisher, because I do get those kinds of dogs. But it's always, when you see me work with one dog and another, you'll say like, oh yeah, Jesse worked with this super insecure dog very differently than he worked with this more aggressive dominant dog. And even then, for that type of dog, it's gradual pressure. But it just means in order for me to cut the behavior, I might have to come in at a harsher number eventually. On him, you can see how it's very appropriate to him and his personality type and the context and how he's feeling with in the moment. Okay? Questions?
No.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he's whining at home, like, and we're making him do this, we should do exactly what you did, like 1, 2, 3, up.
Bump. And I was doing it bumps of 3 here. Okay? Because since he's anxious and there's already some stress going on there, I'm trying not to go too quick in the beginning. Once he's conditioned, like you're fine, okay? But also to help give you more of a structure of how to figure things out. Bump, 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 bump. The reason why I had you shorten your leash was to limit his options. If you would have left complete slack, he could have gotten all the way over here.
Yeah.
A lot of options, right?
So I just make it easier for both you and him. So if he tries to step off, tap, not much further he can go, makes this much easier. That's why I said when you have the bed next to you, step on the leash, limit his options, okay? So like when we do duration work with our boarding trains, day one, once we've taught this, they're doing hours right off the bat. And we have our column and it has a leash around it and we just clip them to it. So there's like a tether there just in case. And then we leave them, they try to follow us, tap, tap, and hop on. Then we're training another dog. So this is what allows us to train multiple dogs at once. And it's still the same reliability that we would get if we tried to do it with the dog over here, no tether, and having to walk them back all the time. It just removes a lot of the work, okay? So for this week, your homework, if you each did a 3 to 5 minute session of just sending him to the bed, using the tap, less leash, okay?
We have multiple beds. We have 2 beds, not multiple beds.
Sure, they'll learn depending on the room. So if you have a bed in the living room and a bed in the bedroom,
Yeah.
he'll, once we bring in the word place or go to your bed, he'll learn that in this room I go to this one, and in this room I go to this one, okay? You want to send him from different angles ideally, so he doesn't get so fixated on one approach to the bed. That's just to create the ease and the response of when I hear this, or not here, when I feel this, I go here. And then alongside of that, you can do your duration work. 15 minutes, 2 hours, an hour, you pick and choose, okay? Go just use your day. You know, if you're gonna rent a movie on Amazon or something, pop it on, hey, let's do some training. Boom, tap, tap, good, sit down and enjoy the movie. And if he gets a little antsy, you know, you can address him, dial him back, look, now his eyes are closed, right? You're being real proactive about like, you need to relax. And then your dog becomes what they practice. If your dog practices unstructured, nervous, anxious energy, your dog becomes a more unstructured, nervous, anxious dog. If your dog starts to practice more discipline, structure, relaxation, calmness, your dog becomes that. Okay? So, questions? feeling now?
Confident,
Pretty good?
yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
So, for this week, super simple. For the leash walking, you can have them wearing the collar. You don't need the remote. Like,
I don't
don't,
remember using it, yeah,
don't worry about that stuff. Just employ it for the stuff that I've shown you.
yeah.
Okay? If you want to hit the word around the house just to get a bit more comfortable with it, that's perfectly fine. Definitely the more it's around, like, it's on him, he like learns to just kind of forget about it. If he's going to be wearing this for longer than 2 hours, you do want to rotate the collar because of the 2 probes, dogs can develop pressure sores. It's not from the stem, it's from 2 things poking in his neck, okay? So just rotate it to different sides and you'll be fine. Otherwise, anytime you use it, I'll suggest use one side and the next time you use it, use a different side. Because if you keep using the same spot, the same thing can happen.
Yeah.
Okay? It's nothing detrimental. The fur might fall out, you might see a scab, it falls off, it heals up, fur goes back out, they're back to normal again. Okay? Very good. So go ahead and tell Mr. Bailey you're okay?
Okay, buddy.
Good. And now he's free.
Good boy.
Good job, buddy.
Good job,
Let's take
buddy.
this off, buddy.
Yeah, we'll take it off.
You did good.
Yeah, hit it great.
Nothing ordinary. Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, it was